financing and funding of projects. People don't fund ideas. We always say people fund ideas, but I've told you this guys enough times. People don't fund good ideas. It is the people who get funded because they have good ideas. So the question is, in this crowded market, therefore, how do I differentiate myself? Because I'm building my personal brand. So how do I make sure that I am differentiated? If I was to go back to school to learn, one of the things I will learn, and I keep on doing a few of these things, is to learn how to communicate. There's nothing as important as God showing you His ways. In other words, let me give you the analogy. What is personal and branding for entrepreneurs? Thank you, Masharia. Thank you, Masharia, for you can do your magic here, Masharia. Good to see you this evening. I'm happy to see all of you. Say it to your neighbor, tell them good to see you this evening. Give your neighbor a high five. Today is the last date of February. It's good to see all of you. I know some guys have gone to have some nyama choma. But good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. It's been a while, eh? It's been quite a while. Good to see you. Great. I think most of you here know me, if not everyone. David, have you met before? No, we've not met before. Sandra, I've seen you before, right? Yeah, but for the sake of who are coming in today and who we've not met before, I think it's always very important just to introduce a little bit of what you've done. And thank you, Titus, for highlighting a few things that by the grace of God we've been able to do. I think my business, if I do remember when I thought of starting a business, I think my first business was in high school, and that was a very interesting one because in high school I was a shoe repair. I was doing shoe repair. Nilikuwa nashona viatu. So when your shoe got worn out and you're looking for someone to come and work on your shoe, I was already there. I was there. I was doing the shoe repair, and that's a very good business for information. Because I was making some money. I was making 200 shillings, I was making 100 bob, and it was a very good business for me because I used to go home and my dad gives me like 100 bob and says, Rudi shule, 100 shillings, and I'm thinking, Mzee, you're not serious, 100 bob? I get back to school, what are you going to do with 100 shillings? And then you find your friends, they're having 500 bob, kona shilingi 100. So I had to look for a way of getting some cash, to buy some half a loaf. We used to buy half a loaf at around 2 shillings. So I used to look for a way of getting that 2 shillings to make sure that I have half a loaf. And that venture was very good. I liked it. But, as Papa has it, that thing that begins at that early stage in your life, if you take good time on it, focus on it, I don't see if you can build it. There's a lot that comes out of that. So I think along the way, I found myself doing other things apart from the shoes. I think I almost negotiated to sell shoes as well after school. But that was not my passion. My passion came along the way when I was in primary school in class 7. I think I've talked about this story for quite some time. But on a nutshell, we have built the second largest wind farm in the country as we speak. We generate 100 megawatt of wind energy to the national grid. Some of this light that you see lighting in Nairobi is coming from our site right now. In fact, our site generates a lot of energy in the evening because the way the wind regime in that area is, it's better in the evening because there's a good flow of wind in that site in the evening. So part of the power we're seeing right now in the country, in the city, is coming from from Kajiado, and that's where we've done our second largest wind farm. We are trusting God that we're going to expand that to make it around 200 megawatts with some battery storage. We are praying and we are trusting God that will happen, but we're working on it. And we thank God that is happening, because by the grace of God, it will happen. We have also begun a process of doing a data center. Yesterday, we had a meeting with some teams here from Aptitude. It's called Uptime Institute. Uptime Institute are the guys who give credentials or certification for data centers. And yesterday afternoon, we hosted them in that boardroom there, and it was one of the best meetings to discuss yesterday with the team. They have certified over 4,000 data centers in the world. 4,000, that is large, guys, because data centers are huge infrastructure investments. So they have certified over 4,000 data centers, and for them to be our partner at this stage is a very encouraging thing. We're so excited that they can come on board to work with us. We are also doing what Titus was saying and mentioning earlier on. We are also at the early stages of developing what you call eSAF. eSAF is sustainable aviation fuel from water. You know, when you talk of hydrogen is you can't get hydrogen on its own. You can get hydrogen on its own, right? But the mother of hydrogen is water, right? So we are developing eSAF on the backdrop of decarbonization, because you know the world is talking decarbonization. So that is a big motivation for us to do eSAF. So we are getting hydrogen from water. We are breaking water through a process called electrolysis process, and that process gives you hydrogen and gives you water. So you mix your hydrogen with carbon through a process called you get carbon through a process called direct air capture. From there you get your carbon, yes, the CO2. Then that carbon you join with hydrogen, it gives something called an hydrocarbon, right? That hydrocarbon is what you synthesize and process further. Synthesis means processing. You synthesize further and you get your methanol or ethanol. Process that further, you can get your eSAF. So sounds easy, but for that process to be done, it's extremely expensive process, and it's extremely very involving. And that's something that God has allowed us to start doing, and that's the office we are hosting in this place where you are right now this evening. So God has been very gracious to allow us to get our feet and our hands into work to do some of this project. And why are we doing hydrogen? It's because the future is green. The future is a carbon-free future. So if you want to do carbon-free future, then you have to look at how is the environment looking like. The future is a free, clean environment. So for you to do good business, look at what you call the trades. Where are we going? For your business to make a lot of sense, then you must look at where is the world going? What are we up to in the next 10 years? Sit with thinkers and sit with economists who will tell you where the world is going, and coil your business around that. And for us, that's what we've done. We've done renewable energy projects because we do know that the world is going renewable. The world is running away from carbon-based petroleum or carbon-based products. It may take time, right? We do understand it will take time, but again, for you to get there, there must be something. There must be a landing pad for you, the ones who arrive first. And so we want to be the first guys of the people who arrive first. And when we discuss on those things, those years when we get there, you shall find us waiting for you. And that's what we want to give for the aeroplanes. In Europe, they have a target of around 20% of the jets that are flying in and out of Europe, at least by 2030, to contribute around between 5 to 20% of their fuel being clean fuel. And that's why our target right now is Europe market. So we are working on that, and we do know by the grace of God that will be done. Yeah. So give the Lord a mighty clap for what He's done. Yeah, and we thank God for that. So over the years, we've seen many things happen, and one of the things I thank God for is positioning. And that's why I'm happy when I see guys come here, and I see you come here. You never know who you will meet where you go for networking. Networking is one of the most important tools for any entrepreneur. Anytime you have an opportunity to meet somebody, that's an opportunity for you to get a new networking, and that networking opportunity could be could be potentially what you've been asking God for. It could be the answered prayer. So when I see guys congregating together like this, coming to join up with us and just having discussions, is because your future could be potentially next to Martin, next to Dorcas, next to David, Sandra, and you never know what word you'll throw in, and that transforms your life. And we have been trusting God that we are putting in and I mentioned this, and sometimes things take time to build together, but we're trusting God to do funding for the projects and for businesses. And we are designing something with Titus and the team on how can we start this and how do we drive. We're discussing with Victor, how does that space look like? But we've already approached several funds. They are keen to come and pick up a few of what we are doing here and see how do we fund this project. Do we give it a seed capital? Do we do like what you call an angel investment? An angel investment could mean we are putting in like 50,000 shillings, or we could put in $50,000, or it could be $100,000, could be $1,000, and then we grow that product, or we grow what you call a prototype. There's a guy called Wesley and Ezekiel. They have seen me twice here, and they have a very amazing product. Extremely amazing product. They have been coming to this meeting, and they have a very amazing product. And they have something that can rival LPG out of biomass. And I said, wait a minute. And these guys are in the campus. Actually, they are in MKU. I was shocked. I was shocked. They have come and demonstrated to me here, and I said, this is fantastic. And these are the kind of things we want to grow. Get a seed capital of around $100,000 or even $5,000 and move from where they are to something different. And these monies are available. And that's my vision. My vision with Titus is not to grow alone. If you want to go far, go with people. And that's what we want to do. We want to go far and we want to go with people. And therefore, what we are trusting God for is putting, we have a lot of people around us who can do funding. And you know, the world is very selfish world. Let me put it like this. The world is very selfish. People who have things don't want to release to other people. But what does it mean for you to own the whole world? One point of time you disappear and the world disappears with you. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. If you own the whole world, one time you disappear and the world disappears with you. Why can't you have 1,000 people, each one owning a piece of the world, and we all enjoy the world? Right? And that's our vision. It doesn't, look, what God has given us is for free. Jesus says, freely you received, freely He give. And we forget to know that it's God who gives us what we got. The moment you realize what you have nothing besides what God gives you, then you begin to give back. But at times you think by giving away, you're becoming less of a person, or you're giving away your opportunities. The more you give, the more opportunities come to you, because God will create for you some more. So we want to see, my desire, and we've discussed this status many times, is to raise as many entrepreneurs as ever we can. And by the grace of God, this will happen. Amen. Just to see as many growing their businesses. This comes with their business. I mean, what a joy if we want to raise $100 million. And you come and say, I'm giving $500,000. Martin says, I'm giving $1 million. Another one says, I'm giving $2 million. Before you know, you've got all what you need. I mean, when you put your hands together, you make work easy for the people around you and even for yourself. And that's why for us, what we began by the grace of God is going far. What we began by the grace of God is not ending here, it's actually starting here. And we know along the way, people will not stop what you're doing. And they will bring money to us to disburse that money to you. And we've already identified people who can monitor in terms of disbursement of money. If someone gives you, because again, entrepreneurs are very good in when they get a seed capital or when money comes in, they get very excited very fast, right? And they are like, oh my goodness me, I have been praying for the day I'll get a V8. This is the day that the Lord has made. This is the day. I have been seeing my neighbors, they are bragging, oh, they are working out. Now, today is the day. The money is here. You get, and that's where we miss it. And I have said this before, financial mismanagement at the point of funding is what has caused most of these early innovators who have been funded in their businesses miss the opportunities, because sooner than later they realize they did a capital investment or capital expenditure when they're supposed to be doing revenue expenditure or revenue generated or revenue forecast kind of spending, right? So you put your money into that car, then that car is just for you to floss in the village, right? Or to floss in your estate. And then again, after you do so, you go back to the house and you're like, oh my God, I need to pay $20,000 tomorrow. I need to pay $200,000. I need to pay $50,000. And that money is not there because the money was supposed to be generated by what you put in the car. So we've identified tools and partners, and they will be coming. I think we should do that in the next 1 month or so. They can do tracking for you. When you get, like, for example, $1,000. We have these guys, and they have developed a very good tool. They can track and see, how did you spend the money? Did you spend the money on the budget? You deliver the budget. How did you spend that money? Because again, we have to be accountable. And entrepreneurs, the first thing we must do is accountability. Financial accountability for our business as early as now, when you're starting off, is so important, because that is the bedrock of the development and the growth of your business. Financial accountability. You don't wait to account when you are 5th year of growth. You start now. Financial accountability starts today, not tomorrow. Because even when you go when your partner comes in, the first thing they ask you is, where are your financial reports? Give us your financial statements. How do they look like? How have you been spending your money? Is a starting point. So accountability on anything that you've given is where you start. So that's it. So to finish that statement or that thought process, we have identified a few partners. We have had discussions. They have those tools of monitoring. Now we're trying to bring in people who can bring in some who can take some good risk, can take a bit risk. We identify good projects, and that's why that pitching was very important. And Victor and Titus will be looking at some businesses. We need to register your businesses, and then we go to take them through a small process of asking, what have you done? Where are you at? Measuring your process. What do you want to do in the next 1 month? Are you registered? What are legal documents do you have? Then we see, if we need to fund you, how much are we funding, right? And when you fund you don't run away, because the problem we have is, and this is the biggest problem, and let's be real, Kenyans. Let's be real. Unapatiwa pesa, the next time we see you is when? Next year, December. Ukisema boss, sasa mimi, and you're very good at excuses, Lucas. This happened and I was not able to, we create stories. Yeah, my phone got lost. No, so we create stories. I got a job out of town. And you've been in Kirinyaga here. Doing what? The thing is, let's be real, Kenyans. Our problem is we are not truthful. We are not truthful, and especially when the money walks in. Truth and transparency disappears in the window. It checks out. And also I say we have to build a community that is based on some values. One of the values must be honesty. If we have to work together, then honesty must be part of what you're doing. That must be there. Because if you're giving you money, we don't know much about you. Yes, we're gonna do a little bit of background, but we don't want to come looking for you that torch. Aliendanga wapi? Mulimona. We don't want to go doing that. If it's small monies you're giving, because in business there's no small money. When you're given money, be accountable. It could be 100 shillings, it could be 50 bucks, but be accountable on it. Accountability is very important, because what that does is it is a building block for your next investment. There's always a second round of raising fund. There's a first round of raising fund, but there's always a second and a third one. So, and that is based on the first one and the second one. So let's be different Kenyans, right? Let's have a breed of Kenyans who are very different in the marketplace, and that's how we're gonna grow ourselves. All right? Yeah. So good. So I have a few guys who want to come in, but let's be authentic. We have to be authentic entrepreneurs. We have to be trusted, right? We have to be trusted, so that when someone gives you money, they know. If we say it's next week, if next week does not happen, you explain why is next week not happening, right? You say, yes, I had this. Don't run away. Come and explain yourself. Tuko pamoja. Come and explain yourself, because now by so doing we know you are authentic. You're not running away. You're not taking off simply because someone owes you some small coins. And by the way, some of the money that of course will run away, it is so small. We just seek for your accountability. Tuko pamoja? Good. Thank you. So let's get to the topic of the day. And I do like what Titus has introduced. And Titus has brought in a very important aspect in what we're discussing today. And I'm so glad because the discussion we've had so far has been very, very mind-opening, right? And I like the fact that when we talk about branding, we've for many years we've talked about branding, but we've never looked at branding from a perspective of individual branding, right? We talk about branding and then what comes to mind is Safaricom, a corporate, right? Yeah. Not Martin, not Victor, right? Yes. What comes in your mind is EABL, companies that have been there for many years. Coca-Cola, right? But the thing is, how about you as a person being a brand? Right? Because everybody, strictly speaking, everybody is a brand. Your name is a brand. When Dorcas walked in, I liked what Titus said. Yes. Welcome, my good friend Dorcas has walked in, and I knew, right, there must be something with Dorcas that Titus associates with her, and that's a brand. So the first question is, what do we think about you when our names are mentioned? When we say Op Mutisia, what do you think about Op Mutisia? Because whatever comes into your mind, whatever flashes into your mind about somebody, chances are that which has flashed first in your mind, that is part of his branding. Masharia, Tech Africa, right? Let me ask this question. How many people do you know in Kenya who are associated with the brand? Let me hear some names. Jeff Koinange, Media. Began with CNN, now with Citizen. Jeff Koinange, Median. Someone else? Eric Omendi. Comedy. Sorry. Someone else? Churchill. Comedy. The late Bob Colimo. Yes. Burare. What comes to mind about Burare? Capacity building, motivational speaking. Someone else? The late CK. Yeah, the late CK. Chris Kruby.
Think about finance investment. There is a individual is interesting.
Yes.
Paspana.
Yes.
That's a brand. Yes, I like it. Pastor Nanga. Good brand, right? Good brand. Toughness, Good brand. Someone else? Pastor T. Good. What do you think? When you think about Pastor T, what do you think about? Spiritual growth, youth, spiritual growth. Someone else? Charles Wabugu. James Wabugu. Oh, Wabugu Apples. That's a good one. Wabugu Apples. That's a good one. Someone else? James Gishuhi. Equity. Oh, James Mwangi. Equity. Good. Pius Washwiri. Nabu Capital. Yes. Nabu Capital. Yes. Dengwa. Peter Dengwa. Safaricom. So what does that tell you largely? What does that tell you largely? Yes, Beth.
The person builds the brand.
The person builds the brand. Wow. Let's give a hand clap. Pretty good. So I like what she has said because that begins our conversation today. What do you see there? I see. Okay, right. Okay, tell me what you guys see there. You see Ford, Rolls Royce, Mercedes. This is Mercedes GLS. This is GLS. Martin, this is GLS. Martin likes Mercedes. Yeah. And the tire? That's Firestone. That's Firestone. But what's let's start. What's interesting about Ford? What can you say about Ford? It's a good car. Durability, good.
They do not start making cars.
They don't start making cars.
I think Ford is the second company.
Speak up. Today we are doing an introduction session, right? We're talking about brand today. Speak up.
I was watching a video and then they were saying that nowadays the Ford is one of the second coming industry for the powerful cars.
Okay, good. That's a good one. Something else? Off-road. Good off-road. Legacy. David, that's a good one. Legacy. Clap for David. Good. Legacy. Masharia? Cabbages.
You can carry me.
That's a good one, Masharia. That's a good one, Masharia. I like Masharia. I like that, Masharia. So you can see, tuko na wakulima. We have farmers around us. Agribusiness. You see. This guy is in tech, but he's thinking about cabbages. That might be a purpose, Masharia. You never know. Again. Biashara. So what is common about consistency? Thank you very much. But the question is this: what is common about these 4 brands? Can someone pick something about the 4 brands? What is common? The wheels? Oh, they have wheels. All of them. That's a good one. That's a good one. The wheels, right? That's good. Yes. Nancy.
Yes, they provide.
Oh, they provide solution for movement. Okay. There are seats here. You could come and just sit in front there. Carry on. Someone else? Luxury. That's good. Yeah, that's right. That's true. Well, that's right. I agree.
I think history.
History? Yeah. Good. Aha. Okay, good. Let me help you. When you look at those, we could have even sat here on these ones. That would have even been better. Okay? So, when you look at those 4 items that we have on that photo, something very common among them is they are all called after their founders. They're all called after their founders. Ford, and I know you do know this, but I will give you a bit of history, which is good for you to know. We began the Mercedes, but most probably we've not looked at these things, right? And this is why branding is very important. This is why product branding is very important. Mercedes, this guy called Jelinek created Mercedes trademark by 1902, right? And he called the daughter Mercedes. So when the guys formed the 4 of them, then they used the name Mercedes by the year 1926, when now their company was fully fledged. But the guy had interest in Mercedes at the time, so he called Mercedes after the daughter. So a Mercedes brand is actually a name of the daughter. But now when these other guys came, Carl Benz, so they took the word Benz and then it became what? A Mercedes Benz. But originally it was Mercedes. But when the 4 of them came together in 1926, then the brand became what? Mercedes Benz. Right? Henry Ford, we all know. So the brand grew after who? after Henry Ford. And I think it was around 1930, Ford began doing a mass production of the Ford vehicles, and they solved a huge problem in the US market. When you talk of Firestone, the guy was called Sir Harvey Samuel Firestone between 1868. And look at these guys. David, I like what you said about legacy. This is 1868. That was 1902. This was when? 1863. Look at legacy. Talk of systems that can outlive you. Talk of values that can outlive you. Talk of branding. So this guy, and actually the wife to Henry Ford, was it Henry Ford? No, Firestone, yes. The wife to Henry Ford, the senior, was actually married to one of the friends or family friends of Firestone. So both of these guys in the US, Henry Ford and the Firestone family, they formed one of the largest brand then in terms of tires and cars. They were from the same family. They were actually related. When it comes to Rolls-Royce, very interesting. Rolls-Royce these were two guys, Ross and Royce, and they all had interest in cars, right? Ross had interest in cars, and Ross, what he did was he was in the university, in the technical university. He did a few things at the technical university, and then he met with Royce. Okay, when he met with Royce had already done a car, and that car was running at what? It was 10 horsepower, and they actually ran in a race. And that race, this guy, Royce drove the car at 30 miles per hour, and that was such an incredible event, and he became very famous. But now Ross was actually selling vehicles those years. So when they met with Royce, they were very happy. And this guy was introduced by a guy who was called is it Arnold? They introduced by a guy called, I can't remember the exact name. But when they introduced them, they met together and then they said, I will sell you cars. Royce, I will sell you cars. And then Ross says, let's agree on the name. Then the name became what? The name became Rolls-Royce as a partnership, and that is what has grown because they both had partnership. They both had passion for vehicles, and that was what has grown to become today what you know as Rolls-Royce. But the key factor and the key point here is these brands all developed from individual personal brands. And you can mention many in the world. I just took a few of them. There are quite a number of them. When you talk of a guy who you very well much know, like our friend Starlink guy, who Martin is a very huge fan of. Starlink, Martin, who is the owner of Starlink? Martin. Martin knows that guy very well. He talks about him very well. You mention Elon Musk, and immediately several things emerge in your mind, right? Because the person, in most of the times, drives the brand. It is very hard to drive a brand without the person. So that person must, first of all, exist with their own values. And then those values will draw us to the brand. If people like Henry Ford were not people of substantive character in terms of building what they were building, then we would not have seen the growth of what they did, because people are sitting with the person first than the brand. So the personal branding in the marketplace is a hard thing to sell without the person. So the business angle is there, yes, but the person himself becomes the bedrock to which the brand grows. And I think this is just an opening eye for us, or back to introduction on what we are supposed to be doing in terms of branding. What is branding? What is brand? What is personal in branding for entrepreneurs? Right? And we just have a few things. Personal branding is about crafting a compelling narrative, all right, around entrepreneur business goals and values. So we want to see somebody like, let's say, Titus wants to be a brand. But the first thing is this: what goal do you want to achieve for you to say, this is my personal branding, right? What are you working towards? It could be coaching, right? So if you want us to know you as a coach, what are you telling us that identifies you as a coach? We've got to start seeing that, because it's talking about personal branding. If we need to see you as a personal coach or as a personal, what I may call influencer, then the first thing is, how do you shape that narrative? Because branding is all about perception. How do we see you? So it involves leveraging their skills. So as an entrepreneur, there must be a skill set that you have or you possess or you've worked or created over the time, and then that skill set helps you now to start branding yourself around it. Are we together?
Yes.
Right. And that has to resonate with what? With your audience. But what is it geared towards? It's geared towards shaping your professional reputation. How is your professional reputation like? Because that is what is shaping your thought, or the thought of the people or the audience, on what you're telling us about yourself. Because this is personal branding. What do you think when you see you? When Masharia walks in, do you think of a long shirt that is not tucked in? a white one for that matter? You know, you're shaping something. When Martin walks in, what kind of, you go, okay, have you ever been somewhere? Have you ever been somewhere and when someone walks in, people say, yule mtu wa? Yule mtu wa? And I like, and without being tribal, I like our friends from Mount Kenya, right? Without being tribal. Mwangi wai? Mwangi wai? Mwangi wai Equity. Wamada? Wamatangi. Senator wa? Wamatangi. And when you ask them the actual name is actually not Wamatangi. But they supplied tongue so much so that people knew them as what? Wamatangi. And they created their brand around what? Around it. So when people see you, they think tongues. When people see you, they should think of something, And the question here is today, and this is what you should be taking home, apart from what you're going to discuss here. The question or the take home today is, what do people think about me when they see me? Wow. Put that down. As someone gets me some water. Put that down. What do people think about me when they first see me? Because that defines first, right? When people see you, what do they think about you? What do they think about you? And why is that important? When people see you, what comes in? Like, for example, you see Charles. What comes in your mind about Charles? Right? Because that tells us on the image, Sandra, that people have about you, and how that is informing us about 1, your reputation, 2, what you do, 3, whether you're effective or not, 4, whether you're authentic or not. And those are things that you get from somebody by just looking at them. Are we together? Yes. Thank you, Martin. I can have it here, Martin. So it's okay. Okay. So have you written that down? Thank you, Martin. So what has influenced personal branding in our today world? The influence of thank you, Titus. Thank you so much, Titus. What has influenced the need or this upsurge for personal branding? The answer is just here. Social media. And why is it that social media has influenced the need for personal branding? Some answers? Yes, David? Pardon?
Visibility.
Visibility. Clap for David. What else? Rich. The number of people. Good. Rich. Feasibility. Rich. Something else?
Awareness.
Excellent. Awareness. Something else? Yes, David?
The opportunity to communicate.
The need to communicate. Excellent. Something else?
Type of
Audience. Outreach. Audience. Good. Yes.
Basically, what social media has done when it comes to branding, bearing in mind in our first slide, branding was basically marketing yourself as an entrepreneur. Social media has created a pool where you can market, you can brand yourself. Yeah.
The Gen Z herself has said it. Clap for her. The upside of social media, number one, it has created jobs. Okay? There are many guys now who are working on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, on what else? Facebook. What else? LinkedIn. What else? Twitter, YouTube. So because of that, we didn't know these people, right? But when the person comes in, you must show me a reason why I should trust you. I don't know you. I don't understand where you're coming from. I don't know your values. We don't share values together. So what will make me trust you? Because I've just seen you on YouTube. I've just seen you on Instagram. I've just seen you on LinkedIn, and you're telling me what you can deliver. So what will make me trust you? So because of that, it has ensured that people have to go an extra mile to do something extra that buys you trust. And what is that? Personal branding comes in place. You have to dress the part, you have to speak the part, you have to give us information that when I listen to you, you're like, this guy makes a bit of sense. You've had social media influencers. Let me ask you a question. Who called them influencers?
Other people, the people they influence, other people call them influencers.
People call them influencers. Why do they call them influencers? Because they influence, right? But
The ability to pass a message.
the ability to do what? To pass a message.
Send the idea.
Or sell the ideas. I like your answers. The reason why you call these guys in, because there's no place like influencers. The thing is, the things that they speak about, they resonate with most of the people, and everybody is like, have you heard so and so? Umesikiza fulani? Nilimsikiza. Na wewe, so all of you suddenly you go channeling your efforts where to one person, and they begin to influence the thought process of what you do, what I do, what they do, what he does, or what they do. Why? Because they resonate with every one of you. And suddenly now you give them a name. Hey, huyu jamaa kwa mtandao, hebu msikize, search the guy. Why is it so? Search have you seen this in TikTok? Have you done this? Because simply they have an opportunity in social media to showcase what they got, to showcase what they can do, to say something that they have done or that they will do, and suddenly now you're like, oh my God. Or for example, they are showing something that, have you seen royal families? What are unique about those houses? Most of the time, there's nothing unique about those houses. We've seen those houses somewhere else. But then these guys come and show, come alongside with me, come and see, you come and zoom something, and everybody's like, wow. Now you go to next door neighbor. It's just the way they carry you, they have their bit of carrying you along, right? The charisma. So personal branding is about a few of these characteristics. How do you bring us alongside with you? What do I like about you? The shoes? Because you need to look at, there are many things that inform us about people. Number one is, are you looking good? Are you looking nice? Are you dressed well? When we look at you, do we want to look at you again? You know that people, when you look at them and you're like, oh my goodness me, You don't want to look like at them again. So the thing is, many things that influence or many things that affect your thought process, and those thought processes are the ones that cause people now to start doing what? Being branded, what you're talking about as what? Influencers. So social media has now crafted a new thing that we are calling influencers, or what I may call personal branded individuals. And that's why you can see, even in music, you see one singer sang, they have 1 million viewers within what? Within a month or within 2 months. Why? There's something they do that is resonating. And we're talking about personal branding. This personal branding has been influenced much more by what we see in social media. And why is that so? Before I move from this, we have had a lot of trouble getting jobs. People have had issues. You're looking for a job, you're not getting a job. You're looking for something just to keep you going, you're not getting it. So people have become thoughtful in how they do things. They are trying to see, what can I do to give me something? What can I? So because of that, people are becoming innovative in nature. And therefore the competition is so high in the market. And for you to be somebody and do something, you have to do something that is different from what others are doing. And also, if you do what other people are doing, then there must be a way of you cutting your cloth. So the question is this: so what are some of these social media personal brands we can talk of today in Kenya, and why? Can we have a few? We've talked about Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, James Mwangi, those one we talked about. But in terms of social media, what can we talk about in social media that we can say this brand is up because of social media? Gen Z, this is your space.
Yes, this is hope again. And I think I would say a brand that has grown because of social media is TMI podcast. Most of you might not be familiar with it, but there's an influencer who is really moving this. I'm sorry for the men, maybe you've not heard it, but this should draw interest. Mugimunya has sold Step Up, and this originates from TMI podcast. So I think it has grown to that, and now almost everyone is using Step Up. If you really don't know what Step Up is, see me after this. And that I become a personal brand of Step Up.
All right, Step Up, right? Social media brand. What other social media brand? And okay, let's talk about the social media brand. Yes, what something else can you say? This is simply because of social media.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Denry bags.
Pardon?
The Denry bags.
What's that?
These bags you see, everyone has them.
Oh, Denry. Oh, the bags.
The leather bags.
Yes.
So they have mainly grown through content from content creators such as Chris Baby.
Chris Baby.
Yeah.
So they are personal
Brand ambassador.
Most of the people.
So, wait. So you said it has grown because of
Mostly her.
who? Chris
Baby.
So Chris Baby is, I don't know her, is a brand by herself, right? But because she's a brand, what she's done is she's gotten him the brand, the Denry, and then they are marketing the product, right? Okay, good. Carry on.
So most of the youth, mostly the bags are the youths have bought the Denry bags from watching videos from Chris Baby. Because whenever she buys, she's like, courtesy of Denry, this bag, no. So it motivates people to get the Denry.
Excellent. That's a good one. Yes.
I think all of us here love stories. So there is this guy called Abel Mutua.
Called who?
Young Kurgezi.
Called who?
Abel.
Abel Mutua, yes.
Yeah. I think all of us at some point have watched maybe a mini-sode or an episode of this guy giving out stories. And he visits, let's say, different restaurants.
Yes.
And then people tend to go to those restaurants just to feel how he felt while he was giving out the story. What's the story? The juice.
Yes, and the juice. That's good. Someone else?
Crazy Kenna.
Chris?
Crazy Kenna.
Chris Kenna, right? Carry on. Funny skits.
Criticizes the government, how the government funny skills that everybody
Can relate with.
Yeah.
Good. Yes, Leon?
There's a controversy here. Everyone knows Nairobi Gossip Club, right? There's no one behind Nairobi Gossip Club. Who knows who runs Nairobi Gossip Club?
I think it's a team.
It's a team. It's not a team.
So, there's a controversy here. The guy is in US, but she runs Nairobi Gossip Club in Kenya.
Wow.
How true is that?
But, okay, there's no face behind Nairobi Gossip Club. That's the controversy.
Right.
So I'm just asking, how is it? What was the strategy?
Good. I like the thoughts in this room.
Very big.
Yes.
Like everyone knows, right?
Yeah, correct. That's good. That's good, Leon. Big assumption. Yes, Dorcas?
Okay, I feel so lost. Please give us details. Some of us are just floating, but representing now the millennials.
Yes.
There is a political activist. He ironically still belongs to their generation.
Right.
They're the ones calling the shots.
Yeah.
We are holding your hands, Ukuluma. The wind beneath your wings, so to speak. So there is a Morawa Kebaso.
Right.
And he came to the limelight
Because of
anti-finance
Right.
protests. He has been exposing what the government has been doing. He started on Twitter and then now went to the other social media platforms. And now he has an office, a brand where people can support him so that he can go to countries and hold government.
Yeah, thank you. That's a brand born out of social media.
One last one.
Yeah. One minute.
Can we talk of Cayenne Car?
Cayenne Car. Car marketing. Okay, good. That's good. So the last one. Yes, ma'am. What are you saying? She's saying what? Oh, okay. Okay, to connect the dots.
I think there is one guy. I don't know how he does this in the political game, but let me not use this one for this. For our news to understand. But this guy does not tell anyone to, record and post, but everyone posts. Now when we are talking about Kasongo here, yeah, you find that barabara itoke where and iende where, everyone knows about it. But yeah, it's a personal brand. Yeah, I know this political
There's a what?
They are your neighbors. The guy,
I missed that. You will tell me about this meeting. I missed that, but you tell me about this meeting. But the thing is this: there are brands now that are growing out of what? Social media. And why is it so? Because everybody has been looking for something that fits into what they require. And for that to happen, then you must look at who are these people who are influencing or who are telling me what I want to know. And if you as an entrepreneur have to build a brand, then again, for you to do so, there are a few things that you need to have. And that's why we're diving a little bit deeper to see what entails personal branding. Okay? What entails personal branding? Number one is, how do you present yourself? For us to follow you and for us to see that this guy, he's a guy I can learn from. It's somebody that I can associate myself with. There must be something about you. If it's like, for example, jokes, you come dressed in a funny way, the trouser looks, we know you're a good guy. Look at somebody like Eric Omondi. Sometimes Eric Omondi dresses, you wonder, honestly, Eric, hakukuwa na nguo zingine ungevaa. You understand? There is nothing, but because it's comedy, and comedy allows that to happen, then he dresses like that sometimes. But you see also sometimes he comes with a very serious suit. So the presentation that you give people is one thing that allows us to find out or to identify you with a certain brand. Now look at, for example, if he's a business entrepreneur and we want to see how does this guy do his things. Can we trust you with our business? Can we trust this guy? So your dress code becomes important. Number 2 is the content that you share. What are you telling us? Right? Does the content you share identify you with the products you're telling us? Because the product must be there, and then the content of the product. What do we know you for? Mwangi wa what? Mwangi wa area. So there's area, something that causes us to know Mwangi wa area, right? Because you can never create a brand out of nothing. There must be something to which you are creating or you're cultivating your brand around. So the question is, what are we building that brand around you for? Like, for example, if you want to talk about Charles, there are many things you can talk about me because I'm multifaceted on different things. But the first thing is the energy. Talk about energy. I can answer some questions of energy. Ukiniamusha from sleep, I can answer a few questions on energy for you. About funding and finance, those things I can answer for you immediately because it's something I'm passionate about. Entrepreneurship and business. The relationship you build, what are those relationships like? Because the people who are around you informs us sometimes of what kind of a person you are. Who are surrounding you? That could be an information to us about how you want to build your brand. Like, for example, here, it's simple. One thing you can talk about, Charles, is what? Mentorship, coaching. Why? The people surrounding you in the thing you are doing, business and entrepreneurship. That could be a way of building what? A brand. So who are the people around you? That could be something, because you're attractor of your kind. The guys around you, when you look at it and you analyze 10 people around you, look at what is common. Like, for example, we said earlier in that picture, what is common about these guys? We said their cars, their luxury. There should be always something around the people who are around. If you're an IT person and we know you for IT, chances are 80% of the guys you interact with during the day might be, if you analyze very well, IT minded. Even think about your life. What you do. Martin is in insurance. So most of the time during the day, you could either be talking to insurance people or dealing with insurance institutions or discussing about insurance. And therefore, at the end of the day, we'll know Martin or insurance. And that's why Kenyans, even saving our numbers now in the phones, unaonanga who? Martin of insurance. Sindio?
Is that
exactly?
Dr. Alfred.
Yes.
Every time you're talking to me, he never calls you Charles.
Yes. Yeah, because what you do around, people get to know you by what you do. And that's why sometimes your personal brand, most of the times you see there's a business brand, there's a personal brand, right? Those are two different things. And today we're talking about personal brand, not business brand. We can talk about business brand in the next or subsequent events. But you see, for you to get to a nice business brand, the personal brand must always be what? Be good. Because again, look, sometimes we've lost our business because of our characters. Yes. When our character goes haywire and we're not conducting ourselves very well, then that eats into our what? Into our business. And that's why it's very important for entrepreneurs to know that your character is the support for your business. Whatever we see you is what we get in your business. Because at times we come to Martin or we come to Titus because we know Titus does what? Good business. So if we get something opposite from what Titus does, then you go like, honestly, I don't want to be involved with that guy. And that's why, for your information, guys, your name is the most important thing in that business you have. Before you get into any business, think about your name. The Bible says a name is better than what? Then what? Because if your name is not well sustained, then the riches will not even come. And sometimes we've spoiled our businesses legacies because we have not been well conducting ourselves. Let's be authentic in the things that we do. So relationships with people. So what is your value proposition? What differentiates you? Because that is already what builds a brand. Because you need also to see, what am I unique at? How do I stand out from the rest of the people? Okay? Because now when you're doing a business brand, or you're branding yourself as a person, you must identify the specific things that we should know you for. Are we together? And the other final one, which is very good in what entails in the personal branding, is the last one, the last point. Why should people trust you and your business? This is very important. Why should I come to your shop? Why should I give business to Martin? All right? Why should I go to Beth? Why should I go to Ted to import my things? Why should I go to Sandra? Why should Tech Africa build for me a software and not another company? Because when you're building a business brand, there are things that follow the business brand, the personal brand, and by extension, the business brand. And therefore, when you say we are doing this business, therefore the element of trust in personal branding is so important. It is what bears the rest of the things that come alongside. People need to feel comfortable when they're around you. If you have to build a brand around yourself, we must feel comfortable around you. Nobody wants to be around a thug, right? If we know you are a conman and we are seen with you, what do people conclude? What are class moja? So you spoil our personal what? Our personal brand. So that trust element in personal branding is very important for us to be able to stand out as individuals and then by extension promote our business. So why is the importance of branding? Why is personal branding important? Okay, a few things that I know, it helps you build trust. We've talked about that very well. Credibility. It helps you stand out in a crowded market. This is the most important point here. It helps you stand out in a crowded what? In the social media right now, there are all manner of things, from YouTube, Instagram, mention Facebook. There are millions and millions of people. So why will people come to you as an individual? Why would we watch your clips? Why would we watch your programs? Why would you come to talk to you and not the other person? So your personal branding, you've bought our trust. You've bought our confidence. You've bought our following. So we will say, I will not watch so and so, I will not go in such and such and such a place, but I will follow you because you have done what? You have bought our trust. So it helps you stand out in a crowded market. And you do know, in the place of market right now, in the marketplace, it's packed up. You go to the university, you graduate 5,000 people by June, by September, another 5,000. Mnatoka university mko watu kama 10,000. How will you stand out? You must think deep. You must look for that niche, that differentiation that is what allow you to sell in the market. This market is competitive and you must be very thoughtful. But personal branding again opens doors for investments and partnerships and career opportunities. I've seen in LinkedIn, and by the way, I've not been good in social media, but I'm trying to now with the people who have come in my life, the likes of Titus, the likes of Gen Z here, they are pushing me into social media. So I am actually in the morning, I was saying, I will look for a guy, I don't know who that person is, and I tell them, you know what, just do this thing. I don't do this thing for me. Because I've not been in Facebook for many years. The other day I was shooting a program and this lady says, Charles, I look for you everywhere. How can you be this and you're not? And I said, wait, calm down. I'm a millennial, calm down. We don't run into what? Social media. Some things we took with a pinch of salt, but again, personal brand demands that you make yourself visible if you have to do what you need to do. And again, the people that now we are doing what you're doing right now, there must be that personal branding. So people say, yes, I know this guy. Yes, he's authentic. You can go to him and have a talk with him, and he will do what? He will help you do what you're doing. So it opens doors for investments, because once people meet you and they realize, especially for financing and funding of projects, people don't fund ideas. We always say people fund ideas, but I've told you these guys enough times. People don't fund good ideas. It is the people who get funded because they have good ideas.
Yes.
People don't fund ideas. It is the people who get funded because they have what? Good ideas. In other words, we are saying people invest in people. So for us to invest in you, we must have realized there's something about you that we need to empower. Are we together? So people don't invest in ideas, they invest in people because they have They have good ideas. And those good ideas, they have stories behind them. Because good stories get funded. Good stories do what? Get funded. So, and I've told you this during pitching, that one of the things you must do during pitching is make sure that as you do your pitch, there is a very good idea around what? Around your pitch. Don't just sell a product. Give me a story about what? Your product. The other day when we went to, in May last year when we went to the US, we went to the White House, and one of this office where we met with some of these guys was one of those old houses. That house was done in 1878. So we asked these guys, so why are we not meeting that big house? Why are we meeting that recent house? Why are you meeting this old house? The stories they gave us about that house, oh, you even don't want to go to the other house. It's just, things are just about what? Stories. You could have been driving a old car, but the story behind that old car, you don't even have to see a new car. You even laugh, you know, have you met these guys who will pull you into their story? You know? And then you wonder, how did I get myself also here? You know, because they have given you a very nice story, and now you even get yourself involved in it. Ladies know this. Sometimes you meet a guy and you're like, oh my goodness me, who dresses like this? Who dresses like this? You know, when I met my wife first, my wife keeps on saying, when I saw my husband those years, the jeans he was putting on, I said, who can marry this guy? because you know, I was some work, you know, I was a piece of what? A piece of work. And ladies, I know you understand these things very well. As a piece of what? Some of the guys around you, ladies, they are a piece of work. But at the end of the day, you end up being in the same house with them, and you wonder, honestly speaking, how do I find myself here? All right? So we are just saying that good stories get what? Financed. So get a good story about you, who you are. Get a good story about, we are talking about personal branding. When you listen to some of these guys, they have good vision. Some of these young men, listen, you must have a vision. For you to attract good things around you, whether in business, whether in marriage, whether in career, you must learn how to have a good vision about your life. Don't let people look down at you simply because you don't have what people think they have. Have a vision. When you sit down with me, tell me that vision. Sell a vision to a woman. Sell a vision. Don't sell yourself. Sell your vision. That's why young men, we are failing to get and to attract young ladies. Sell your vision and make sure you work towards what? Actualizing your vision. Are we together, young men? Yes. You know, forgive me for this because we are talking about personal branding, right? Ladies like ready things. Young men, ladies like ready things. And when they realize that what they want is not in you, they are like, okay. Honestly, do I need to be here? Give me a reason for me to stick. You are a nice guy, you talk nicely, but what I need to have right now, what do I need to do? Sell a vision. And then she goes like, what? You mean you're going to do that? Okay. You mean you're going to become that person? Now the eyes get what? Opened. Are we together, David? The eyes get what? Open. Because they want to be with the person who has a vision, who has a purpose, who knows where they are going. Because no woman wants to suffer in a man's house. Ladies, am I together with you? Yes. They want to get somewhere and then they realize here where I came, at least I am valued. There's something that we can eat. The children, they come. So the thing is, personal branding, even in marriage, demands that you must have vision where you're going. And there's nothing as bad as a man who has no vision. Men, ladies like to see a visionarized, a man who has what? Vision. And one moment you sell your vision, you're selling your personal brand. This is who I am. This is what I want to see. Know what you want to see, what you want to become. Therefore, you're setting up your brand for the future. Are we together? Yes. Excellent.
So, if she doesn't buy the vision, it's not the right one.
See me after this for discussions. So the question is, in this crowded market, therefore, how do I differentiate myself? Because I'm building my personal brand. So how do I make sure that I am differentiated? Number one, be what? Authentic. People love authentic people. Authenticity. People like authenticity. Don't go lying, ballooning what you're saying. Just be authentic. Kama kitu hakuna and that's it. Be authentic. Don't go lying so that you can attract likes. Right? You say something because of the likes. No. Be authentic. And people know how to determine an authentic guy and a guy who is not what? Authentic. Use unique personal stories and experiences. Let people understand what is your story. People like stories. They want to hear where you're coming from. Before we trust you, tell us a bit about you. Where are you coming from? Who are you? Where have you come from? Who do we associate yourself with? All right? What are those unique stories and experiences about you? Let us know. Let's hear. So people want to know and gauge your story. Is it a good story? Can people check? Like I was looking at Titus, I was looking at my LinkedIn and I was seeing this one week, 93 people are looking for me in LinkedIn. Searched for child. So I'm like, okay. So what kujua kama mimi ni authentic, eh? I just know. Hey, mulisikia. But you see, the thing is, these people are looking for what? Unique. They want to know, where are you coming from? Who are you? Tell us about yourself. Who are you? Update yourself. Be informed. Be informed. Have the current stories. Tell us about things. Because, for example, when you're talking to us about, if your business about importations of goods, if your business about selling us about bitcoins, and you want us to know you as a Bitcoin guy, Forex guy, what do we hear about you about Forex market? Tell us about the Forex market, right? What are you talking about in the Forex market? When you stand to talk, let's hear information, current markets. Tell us the dollar today versus the euro was like this. Yesterday, the US and the New Zealand dollar was negative or blah, blah, blah. This went like this. Let us hear you what? Well informed, because that is your space. So in other words, the thing is, in your personal branding, the thing that you want us to see about you, you must be very well informed about what you want us to know you about, or what you want us to know you for. So be well informed. Then the last one, which is very good, is, and this is what you said a bit earlier, is develop a charm of convincing and enticing communication. If I was to go back to school to learn, one of the things I will learn, and I keep on doing a few of these things, is to learn how to communicate. Communication is one of the hardest things in the world. Yet, all businesses in the world, they all surround communication. Everything you do in life is about what? Communication. Raising funds, selling your product, marketing your product. Everything you do, getting customers, is about what? Communication. Some of the times, we've got to meetings, we've got to Zoom meetings, and then these guys talk, and especially because of where we have come from. Unajua, some of our teachers who taught us, they changed our tongue on how we pronounce some words. So someone will tell you, I was not like this when I was born, but it is the teachers. But the thing is this, you must learn as you grow. Learn, acquire new acquire new skills as you grow. Acquire communication skills. Communication is the most important skill that we need to have in our lives every day if we need to win this war about personal, not only personal branding in the business. It's all about communication. Sometimes I go for meetings and I listen guys talk and I wonder, honestly speaking, how watu walisomea wapi? Have you listened to some English? People talk some English, you thought you know some English, and you're like, oh my goodness me, I need to go back to school. And you need to be somewhere with challenge. Sometimes the problem why we don't learn is because the people who are around you, you are the only one who is, you are the best. You are the best. You are the best among your peers. You know? And that's why we don't grow. You need to get somewhere, and when people speak, you are like, oh God, honestly God, did I have to come here? Because exactly, in the school fees refund. Because again, you are listening and wondering, honestly, mimi naendanga shule gani? You know, where did I go to school? When I was in last December, when I was in Geneva, and I was in that panel, Martin, you were showing the other day, I was in that panel in Geneva, and questions are coming. We were 2 Africans there on that panel, James Mwangi and myself. The other guys were just guys from other markets, Europe, America. And then the English, it was a big hall where the wazungu wako hapo, and it was a big hall for over 200 people. And then guys are just there. And the African man, Charles, is there. You know. And the questions begin to arise. And the question goes like, Charles, you have done a good thing in Kenya, and we appreciate what you people are doing. But in terms of economic development and in terms of impact of your company into the world, could you tell us what are some of these things that you think we could learn from you, we could learn to the other people, we could learn from other people, or you can share with us to understand how you guys in Africa do some of these things? And go like, oh my goodness me.
It's amazing.
You listen to some of these things and you're like, God, thank you, I'm here. Thank God I'm on this platform. You know, because for sometimes you miss some words. You know, let's be real. You miss some because the twists and the turns on those tongues. You're like, oh my goodness me, this is speaking tongues. But you have to be focused. You can't show it. You have to be focused. And you give answers, and then you go like, you have to pull yourself up. Sometimes you have to pull your socks. You have to train you. Sometimes you have to go to your bedroom, to the bathroom, and you speak some words and just listen to yourself. Sometimes you make mistakes because we don't listen to ourselves. Some mistakes we make, honestly, we should have made that in the bathroom, not on a public platform. Sometimes we should just be going back in the closet and say, Charles, honestly, where was that? Speak to yourself, because you want the best out of you, because you cannot ask. You know, there are platforms that God is setting for all of us, where if you don't train ourselves right now, we'll lose those opportunities because we cannot sustain them simply because we failed to train ourselves. And some of these just demand discipline. So develop the charm of convincing and enticing communication. It is a develop. It's a word, it's learning. Listen to guys talk. Go to YouTube, listen to some people. Go to Instagram, listen to how people do things, and you learn from there. I think time is really running out, and I'm just going to be finishing in the next few minutes. All right, so the question is, how do you build your personal brand? We're just finishing here, and then we see what happened next. So identify your unique value proposition. You must have a unique value proposition. Do you know it? That's the first question. If I was to ask you a question today, and put this down as a question, what is your unique value proposition? My bro. What is your unique value proposition? I want this to be an assignment for you. Yeah, you can. Do you have one? Yes.
My unique value proposition is based on my experience and my background. So at my age, having dealt with altars, family altars, breaking them successfully, I am able to guide people in my age and even people who are advanced in age. And also that touches on businesses that are struggling with altars. Yes.
That's the clear for this guy. He understands what is unique value proposition. But for the rest of us, the question is this: do we understand our unique value proposition? That's your assignment for the next 1 week, because this informs you of where you're going as an entrepreneur, as a person, and if you get this correct, then you know how to shape your life. Number 2, create and share value content. So valuable content, that should be the word, valuable content. You should have valuable content that when people come to you, should be something that is transformative. Number 3 is leverage on digital and social media platforms. Of course, you know much about this. If you're building your personal brand, you go to YouTube and position yourself very well in any of the digital platforms which you identify. It could be in LinkedIn, it could be in TikTok. Just pick one that you feel, when I position myself here in this way, in this manner, I will sell my value proposition, and this value proposition will catapult me to the next level. Network and build relationships. This is very important. Why is networking and relationship important? I think I talked about this a bit earlier on, because this gives you, networks, it gives you opportunities, right? Which is important for you in your building your personal brand. And then finally, which I mentioned about, is staying what? Staying authentic. Good. And I think that was it for personal branding. That's it for the night. Thank you so much. Thank you. And you do know, as you build a personal branding, something very important is you must trust in God. It is God who allows you to understand some of those things about you. If God is not in your life, it becomes a bit expensive and hard for you to see a few things. I've told you this many times, and as I do this, as I hand in Titus to come in and to conclude, there's something I've told you guys about Psalm 25 verse 12. It says this: which man fears the Lord? That man, the Bible says, I will show him my way. There's nothing as important as God showing you his ways. In other words, let me give you the knowledge. I don't know all of you understand about Google Maps, right? Now, for you to understand exactly how God works, God at times, and in many times, he leads our lives like a Google map. Okay? You begin your life as a student and you trust in God to go somewhere and to lead you somewhere. So what God does through his Spirit is he leads you to understand when to take a turn in the left, when to take a turn in the right. And as you keep on moving, when you have a fellowship with God, what he does in your life is this: he makes your spirit man understand there are people you need to have. You don't have to be in every relationship in life. You don't need to be everywhere for everybody. There are people who don't need your life. You need a few guys who will take you where you're going. And how do you identify those people? At times when God comes to life, he will take you to the right places. I met this guy called Masharia in a church circle. His bishop is a very good friend of mine. Bishop tells me, Charles, he calls me, let me not say that other name. He says, Charles, this young man is very diligent. If you're doing anything, if you ever think of doing anything, maybe you can have a talk with him. What Bishop didn't know at the time is I was trusting God for having a few things, and actually what you're doing right now. I asked Masharia, he came here several times, and I asked Masharia, can we do something? I want us to bring in a few guys together. Masharia says, like yesterday, I have been trusting God to meet somebody like you, and we see what you can craft together. And before we knew, I tell Titus, there's a guy you need to meet. Masharia comes. Masharia says, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But you see, if I never took a step to go to meet his bishop and shake my hands with bishop And Bishop, he comes in, and Bishop says, this is a good guy. I would never known Masharia. Some of the Tech Africa guys who are here, I didn't know them. Kina Ofra and the rest of the guys, I didn't know them. But Masharia leads me to know Ofra and the team, right? And the thing is this, as you trust God, what God does is He schedules your life. There's a scripture I also like. It says, you will hear a voice say, this is the way. It's the way to go. And He speaks to you with a very small, soft voice. And He keeps on leading. I met Simon, my partner, back in 1999 in where I used to work in Demi Road, right? I met Simon. Simon is my partner now. Since 1999, we've known each other. Well, many years are those? 26 years, right? We've been working with Simon since 1999. That's not easy. But how did I find myself there? I went there for an attachment when I was in university. I just finished doing CPA. I was trusting God for a job. And then this friend of mine was my desk mate, came and she told me, by the way, Charles, in our place of work, this lady was gone, who has been in our accounts, she's gone on maternity. Could you come and work for us? And then she says, it's not an issue, could you come? She says, you've been a nice guy, you've always been good to us, and we have recommended you to our HR. Come and sit. I went there, I never did an interview. That's why I met Simon. I see this good guy talking to us, and that's why, guys, let's be good. Let's be nice. Some of the reason why we miss opportunities is because you're not good. We're not nice. Being nice, you pay nothing for being nice. Be nice. Talk nicely. Don't go yapping and talking bad things of people. You should have known this. No, not everybody knows what you know. So give them time to learn what you know, and they will be at par. So be nice. I meet Simon, and just because of being nice with Simon, he says, this is a guy we can work with. A few years, something happened, and then Simon says, this is a guy I want to work with. The partners, a company called Acumen Fund, want to fund a project that Simon was doing. He says, but you need a CFO. Simon says, but I have a CFO. It's called Charles. He calls me in. Some opportunities you will not get because you're not nice. Just being nice. So I don't know what I was saying by saying this, but the thing is this: we have to, number one, trust that God can lead us where we want to go. Don't lean on your own understanding. Don't lean on networks. Networks are good, but networks are not it. There is another hand you don't see. So lean much on God's side, and God will deliver you to where you want to go. I met Simon, and today, I was not in energy sector. I was doing finance, I was doing auditing. I was not in all these things. But today, I don't like finance. And I told you this, guys, I don't like auditing and accounting. I am doing project development, which I was not part of in the beginning. But you see, the Lord leads you to where you need to. He understands where your end is. God knows where your end is. And therefore, He is the one who will lead you there. So pray, ask God. You may not know God at a personal level, but you pray as you go to bed, ask Him, Lord, lead me. I've heard about you many times, but you know what? Lead me. Order my steps, direct my path. And as you do so, the future you're looking at will come to pass. That future you're looking at, let me tell you, for the grace of God, our project that we are doing right now, if I tell you how much money our first project was, I know some of you guys know, our first project was around $323 million. If you could have asked us in the beginning, will you ever do a project of this magnitude? I said, the devil is a liar. Right? Are you together? Because again, it looks like what? Impossible. But the thing is this, there is nothing impossible with God. And whosoever believeth, all things are what? Possible. And let me tell you, people, the things you've been trusting God for, as you continue to put your life in His hands, all those things will come to pass. Put your faith in God and trust God. Check on Him. God is one. You cannot accuse God for not being truthful.
Yes.
He will always lead you there. You may not know the place and how to go there, but as you put your trust in Him, He will make sure that He orders your steps in the right way. He directs your paths. And as He does so, He brings you the people you need. As you pray, tell God, simple prayer, Lord, today, order my steps. Let me meet the people you've put in my path. Because we are looking at them. We are not working for today. We're working for the future. We're working for where we want to go. And how do we go there? Where we want to go, God knows. It's like the Google map. God knows the route you need to take. He knows the path you need to take. He says, turn right, just turn right. He tells you, leave this guy alone. Leave him alone. He tells you, leave this woman alone. Leave him alone. And keep on focusing on God. And as you do so, everything you desire will come to pass, because He's a faithful God. Tuko pamoja. God bless you and have a wonderful evening.